Picture this, the best fruit trees you've ever grown, and then nothing, zero, no fruit. It happened to me, it can happen to you. Today, I'm exposing the real reasons your fruit trees stop producing. Hidden pests, a sneaky phenomenon called June drop, and one mistake almost every homeowner makes. Stay with me, because by the end, you'll know exactly how you messed up or didn't. I fix gardening problems. Like, subscribe, and let's dig in. Okay, it happens to the best of us. What happens when your fruit trees haven't produced any fruit? Are they not fruit trees any longer? Well, there's so many environmental factors and so many different things that would stop a plant from not fruiting or giving you anything. Now, these plants right here, they have been prolific for the longest time, but this year, absolutely nothing. They were pruned properly, they were pruned at the right time. Well, we've even filmed TV shows on how to do all that. Now, the thing of it is, we have to ask ourselves now and do a little investigative reporting and remembering what has been going on in our environment. So the first thing I look at, well, number one, I look at it, did we prune it correctly? That's usually the number one culprit. Did we prune it too much? Did we not prune it enough? Those are really important things that we have to kind of keep in mind when we're talking about these trees, because that right there will actually stop it from fruiting. Now, the thing of it is, these things were loaded with flowers this year. I mean, they were blasted. We were looking at probably the best looking crop that I've ever seen, and I was getting ready to even take and shore up some of these branches and see what, see how they were going to fare with all the fruit on there. Problem is, they never happened. Now, the reason why they never happened, wait a minute, let's do this. There are certain times when there'll be insects that can get on there, and they're called mites because they're mite. And these mites in the fruit development will take and they will actually shear off the flower, or there's usually a little tiny fruit that comes on there. Now, remind you, these particular trees, they didn't get any fruit development at all on here, but they did get a ton of flowers. Now, if you get into usually May, June, and July, there is a natural phenomenon that is called June drop. Usually it happens in June, but you never know, it could be earlier, it could be later than that. And June drop is when you do have fruit on the trees, and then you come walking out, you're looking at them, you're going, yes, this is gonna be a really good crop. And then all of a sudden, you come out the next day and they're all on the ground. That's the natural cleansing process of the trees. There's absolutely nothing you could do about a June drop. That's just the way that it works. It just happens that way. So that's kind of sad when it happens. Nothing you can do about it. Another thing that could happen is if the tree gets stressed out. Normally, you could look at the trunk of the trees, you could look at the branches of the trees, and then you'll see kind of like a sappy substance coming out. Sometimes it's soft, sometimes it's a translucent kind of a hard material, and that's called gummosis. And when gummosis hits a tree, that definitely means that it has been under stress. Another reason why you wouldn't get any fruit on here. Now, I know why these didn't get any fruit this year, and the reason being is because when they were in the flowering stage, and they flowered a little extra early this year because we had an early spring, and when they were in the flowering stage, we got some torrential rain, and the rain was absolutely horrible. It beat these things down to the ground. Yeah, it's good for the watering and all that. Let's face it, they need the water, but it beat them down, knocked off every flower. Then what happened is that we had a second flush of flowers come on. It wasn't as many. Wasn't as many flowers that second time. That second round of flowers, and I'm thinking, all right. Now by this time, we had a lot of leaves that were on the plants. So you would think that by the second torrential rain that we got, they would have protected at least one or two flowers. Didn't happen. Totally decimated the tree. We actually got it. These trees actually went into what they call a double dormancy period. And this double dormancy period just really smacked these plants to no end. So we lost the leaves for a second time, because we know that during the winter time, late fall, early winter, we are going to have the plants go into dormancy. They're going to go to sleep. That's when we come back and we do our major pruning on these things. We do adjusting of the pruning, et cetera, et cetera. But that didn't happen. The second time around, we don't do any extra pruning. We don't do anything with that. It just came through. The rains came, and then add insult to injury, we had a couple of days there where it got super hot, just super hot. It was baking everything here at the thingsgreen.com botanical gardens. I mean, you know, if you were to even look, like right here, this right here is sugarcane. So our sugarcane even got all burnt up. But anyway, the point is that environmental conditions, rain, sleet, snow, those are usually the cold things. Oh, cold itself, you don't even have to have any of that. Sometimes if you get just a night of a horrible frost or freeze, that can set these things back. They could be very temperamental. So what do? We cry. There's nothing we can do this year. And they're just gonna be pretty trees. So the best thing for us to do is to get ourselves maybe like a lawn chair, and you sit under here, get yourself some lemonade after a hard day of working. Of course, these canopies are kind of low, but you know, when you're sitting down, you're gonna clear, and you're not gonna mess up your dew at all. But it's a good example that shows that the best of us, it happens, and it happens to everybody. It happens to farmers. That's why, I don't remember what even I said at the beginning of this, but you know, farming is legalized gambling. I mean, it really is, because you just never know what's going to happen. Of course, we're urban farming over here, where we don't have, you know, 10,000 acres and 1 million trees. We don't have even an acre and 10 trees. We got a couple of trees over here, and they have succumbed, not to death, but they have succumbed to the fact that they can't hold on to that fruit long enough in order for it to develop into that edible fruit crop that we just want. Because let me tell you something, even though I'm getting nothing off of these, this right here, this is my pride and joy, this peach tree right here. I love this tree because it's a freestone peach. You come out here in the summertime, you pick a peach, you open it up, the stone is not attached. That's why they call it a freestone. You just take it out, do whatever you want with it, and then you eat it, and then it gets all over the place. And you get it on your arms, and you get it everywhere. It's so juicy. It's a really good tasting peach. I don't get to do that this year. But thankfully, there are other places. There's farmers markets, there are stores. You go out and you could find different places to help offset. It may not have been something that you grew, obviously, but somebody else did, and they put the attention and love into those trees. That's actually kind of a cool thing when you really think about it. So don't forget, if you are having difficulties, we need to find out the reasons for that. And we have to track our steps backwards. How is that? What happened? Look at the weather, pay attention to the patterns, write a journal. That's why garden journals are so important. Did you know that? Get a garden journal, write it down. Put what the weather was. Say that it was 95 degrees. Say that it was 65 degrees. You have those fluctuations like that. That's not only going to mess up your trees. By the way, they can't respond as quickly as we can. You know, it gets cold outside. We could put a jacket on. These things get cold. They can't put a jacket on. So they're going to be slower to respond. And on top of that, we have to look at, how are we taking care of the plant? Are we fertilizing the plant? Are we deep watering the plant? Did we prune it correctly? What are the steps that we took to ensure that the plant is being as successful as possible? Is it in full sun? Really important, all of our fruit trees, they need full sun. And we're talking 8 to 10 hours, at least. If you can get 12 hours, of course in the summertime you're gonna get 12 hours, in the wintertime we're not. But the point is, you put them in full sun, what are they getting? And it's so important to monitor all of this, because if you're not monitoring it properly, you may not get anything at all. And finally, we have to remember about the variety of the tree. Okay, so I already knew that where I'm at here at the thingsgreen.com Botanical Gardens, we get plenty of what we call chill hours. Now, chill hours are the collective amount of hours that a plant gets from the previous year. So from the previous year, we had plenty of chill hours for these trees to do what they're going to do. How do I know this? Well, because we got the blossoms, and then and it was, they were flourishing. Everything was just doing good. So when you go to your local nursery or garden center, make sure you have the right amount of chill hours for your area. Now, typically the nurseries are going to sell you the plants that have the proper chill hours anyhow. So you're going to be okay when it comes to that. But the chill hours are so important. Imagine it like being a little computer chip that's inside every single one of these plants. So it's collecting this information for the following year, not for the existing year, but for the following year. And that's super important. If you don't have enough chill hours, I don't care what you do, you're not going to get anything. That's what's going to happen. Absolutely nothing. But if you get enough chill hours, in fact, you could even have more chill hours, and that's okay. And we're not talking 30 degrees, 32 degrees. We're not talking freezing hours and less. We're talking usually between 38 to like 45 at the absolute most. You know, doable stuff, evening stuff, daytime stuff. It doesn't have to be all daytime, because it collects it during the nighttime too. While we're sleeping, these things are still going, unless they're deciduous. Now, with that being said, go out into your yard and garden, even if they haven't grown, even if they don't have any fruit on there, just take and appreciate the glorious factor that these things right here are providing oxygen to us. And that's why I'm getting a little bit more hyper right now, because I got all this oxygen coming into me. Trees, they're an absolutely wonderful thing. You can keep them small, you can grow them big. I have these in raised planters. It's amazing what you could do with them. These are full-size trees. These aren't, there's what they call dwarf trees. They're little itty bitty ones. They're semi-dwarf trees, and then there's standard trees. These are standard trees. I've just been able to prune them down, keep them down, because that's the way they like. Oh, by the way, if you wanted to take these and espalier them and grow them along a fence, knock your socks off. I am here to fix your gardening problems.